you are capable of doing amazing things. The main importance of this book club is about encouraging people to read more and more books. Beginning a revolution, telling people we are Africans and we read. Hello, good afternoon. Once again, thank you for joining us again for today's broadcast. I am Florence Favour with Favour Book Club, a book club I started 5 years ago, which has helped me and helped many others. And I know by the grace of God, it shall help you also. The main importance of this book club is about encouraging people to read more and more books and to encourage others to do the same. You read more books and influence others to do the same. Why? Because books, there is wealth in books. Someone said that if you go to the grave, that is where most of the wealth and the riches is buried. Books that were never written or whatever. Potential that was never untapped or discovered or used. You know, they are all lying in the grave. Well, before we get to the grave, may we use our potential here on earth. May we exploit all our God-given potential, specifically the potential of our minds. And like we said in our last broadcast, that the mind is a muscle that needs to be used over and over and over again, exercised over and over and over again, for it to become strong and to be able to produce good results, to be able to develop the capacity of our mind. We need to use it more and more. Someone say that if you want to hide something from an African, put it in a book. Well, you know what? It is good. At least they told us where they have put all the good things. At least they have already told us where their keys to success are hidden. And therefore, here at Favour Book Club, we are saying we are Africans and we read. I've been tweeting, and a few people also have been tweeting about the books they are reading. On our Twitter handle, remember the handle is I'm an African and I read. You just go to your Twitter handle, I'm an African and I read. You tweet it back to us, I'm an African and I read, with your name and the book you are reading or the book you would like to read. Like I said, Favour Book Club exists with the sole purpose of facilitating you get access to that book that you want to read and you don't know where to get it. Just tell us which book you want to read and we will look it up for you. You will have access to it. Alternatively, go to the Facebook page, Favour Book Club. There is a list there with all the books that are available in our library, in our bookstore, that you can buy or rent at a fee from as low as 200 shillings, depending on the size of the book, for a stipulated amount of time. For now, we are giving people for 1 month because we want to develop discipline and we want to develop character in reading. That you will be able to sacrifice your 30 minutes of sleep, that you will be able to finish reading that book in the course of 1 month. And I know that it shall be well. Today, I want to tell us a story, a motivational story about Ben Carson. Ben Carson is a well-known surgeon in the US, a very much sought after brain surgeon, neurosurgeon in the US. But you know, his life in the beginning did not have anything to dictate like he would ever amount to anything. But you know, he had a mother like mine. You remember in our last broadcast, I told you the story about my mother. She would not let our dad buy television for us. Me television kwetu nimeiona after nimemaliza form 4. She was that serious. She wanted us to read all the time. Read. And the same case, Ben Carson's mother. She was not also a very educated woman. Actually, she was a housekeeper. She used to clean house for the rich. And one day she came home and told his two sons that, I've been cleaning houses for the rich people. And they have big television sets. But I rarely find them sitting in front of those big television sets watching television. Most of the time, I find them with a book. In their free time, I find them with a book reading a book in their spare time. And so she began to encourage her children to read. And as just like me, Ben Carson used to think that the mother was punishing them for no reason at all. And she went even a step further and told them she would give them a book to read, and at the end of that week, she would require a written report about the book. A brief report about the book the child had read. Well, my mother never made, I wish she did. She never did that, but I wish she did. So Ben Carson and the brother, that was their life. Every day after school, they had a set time to do their homework, do their household chores, and a set time to read a book that has nothing to do with schoolwork. And Ben Carson, he was not a very bright child in school. He wasn't very bright, which is actually very surprising how he ended up being a neurosurgeon, one of the world's most sought after. But this is what happened. One day, his mother, I think she used to ask for books, to borrow books from her employers to take to her children. And one day she brought home a book about rocks. Rocks, right? Like stones, right? Rocks. And she gave it to Ben Carson. And the book was so boring. First of all, the terminology in the book, the terminology of the names of the stones, they were difficult enough to pronounce, leave alone, understand them. And so Ben Carson he just grudgingly read that book. And then one day, he used to walk home from school. One day on his way home from school, he started collecting rocks out of whatever he had read from the book. He started collecting rocks, and he would put them in a jar in his bedroom. And one day in school, the teacher, it was a geography class, the teacher asked them about the name of a rock. She had brought the specimen in class for the students to identify the rock. And you know what? Nobody in the entire classroom, including the top students, the one who used the straight A students, as they used to call them, the straight A students, none of them could identify the rock. But Ben Carson, slowly, fearingly, lifted up his hand and said, "Teacher, I know." And you know what? That all the other children began to laugh because they knew him as the dumb kid in class. So if the straight A students did not know anything about the rock the teacher had brought to class, what made Ben Carson think that he knew the name of the rock? But lo and behold, he was able to correctly identify the rock with its proper geographical name. The teacher was so surprised. After class, he called him and asked him a few questions. And Ben Carson said, "Yeah, I learned it from a book my mother gave me to read." And he was so surprised. After that, you can imagine, his life began to take another turn for the better. Because now the students, his fellow students that had not given him any respect, they used to label him the dumb kid in class. Now they used to see him, now they began to see him with another eye. Now he was no longer the dumb boy in class. Now they knew that there's something he knew that the rest did not know. And do you know what? Ben Carson said that after that, he began to have an interest, a serious one now. Not just reading because it was a duty given by his mother to do, but now reading for himself. Reading because he knew in a book, there is something you can discover in a book that someone else does not know. And like I have said, they say that you want to hide something in an African, put it in a book. Well, thank God they told us where they have hidden the secrets. Now we can find the secrets for ourselves because they are hidden in the books. Just like Ben Carson discovered that day, that there are keys and secrets hidden in books. And now he began to read seriously, now for himself with a passion. And do you know what? Even his English, his composition writing, even his spelling, began to improve. And right there and then, the boy that was the dumb kid in class, now slowly began improving in his grades until he was an A student. You can imagine this kid that was used to be labeled the dumb kid in class, now later became a world-renowned neurosurgeon, a brain surgeon. Why? Only because he discovered something, just one thing in a book. And that is why I'm saying, with Favour Book Club, join us as we cause a revolution. They said Africans don't read. Let us bring about this revolution. That we are going to say, I'm an African and I read. We are Africans and we read. Because personally, I know I'm an African and I read. And what did I say? Apart from being a preacher, you know, a minister of the gospel, and a singer, a gospel artist, I also write books. I'm an author. By the grace of God, I've been able to write 2 books. This was my first book, Save Me From Myself. This is the other book, As I See My Father Do. And guess what? Today, if you want to purchase any of these books, I am willing to give a 15% discount, just like that. 15% discount, just like that. For you joining Favour Book Club, I'm giving 15% discount on anyone willing to purchase any of these books. And not only that, you can also visit our Favour Book Club Facebook page, and there you will find a list. We update it every week. We update it every week on all the available books that you can rent and read. You may not be able to buy 3 books or 4 books at a go. If, for example, each book going for 1,500 shillings or even 1,000 each, you may not have that money to spend at once. But do you know what? At Favour Book Club, we have made it easy for you. The books are already there. They are available. You can rent them for as low as 200 shillings or 300 shillings, depending on the size of the book and the name of the author also. And I know your life shall be transformed. Shortly after this, I'm going to be tweeting about the book I'm reading, the book I'm currently reading, and for how long I've been reading it. I'm also challenging myself to do better, And just like Ben Carson discovered something in a book that revolutionized his life, I know also ourselves, there are some things we can discover that will revolutionize our lives. Someone said, you may never meet Bill Gates, you may never personally meet Bill Gates face to face, but do you know what? There's a lot you can learn. There's a lot we can learn from these people through the books they have written. There are keys, there are principles they have given to us in the books that have been written. And if we tap into this, if we are able to tap into this, I believe our lives shall be changed and transformed for the better. So kindly visit the Facebook page, encourage your friends and loved ones, your family members to like the page and to follow us. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, there. And don't forget to also tweet back. As I tweet, don't forget to tweet back. And the Twitter handle is I'm an African and I read. Like I said, we are beginning a revolution. We are beginning a revolution. Let it be known. Let it be known that we have discovered the secret in books and the wealth hidden in books. And we are reading Africans. I'm an African and I read. That's our Twitter handle. As I tweet, as we tweet, you tweet back with your name and the book you're currently reading, or with your interest in beginning a reading culture. Your interest in beginning and developing a reading culture. Or the book you want to read, a book probably you desire to read, a book probably you heard about and you don't have access to it. Visit our Facebook page and write there. Leave us a message there. Tell us which book you want to read. Also, to pay for the book rentals, there's the till number, the till number right there. You can use that till number to pay for it, but don't forget to call the number. Call the number so that you are able to organize whether the book will be delivered to you or you are available to come and pick it up. And I know the Lord shall do you well. The Lord God shall do you well. Well, we said last time that Proverbs 23:23, even God knows the way to acquire knowledge, the way to acquire wisdom. Wisdom is not freely given. It is not freely given. And therefore, that is why the Bible says that Proverbs 23:23, buy the truth and sell it not. Buy the truth and do not sell it. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. So all these things are to be bought. Truth, wisdom, instruction, and understanding. You know, it is to be bought. So someone may be wondering why if we have the books in the library, why we are not giving them to the people for free. No, wisdom is bought. You know, if something doesn't cost you anything, you rarely value it. If something doesn't cost you, you hardly value it. But if it costs you, you value it. Like we said last time, when you spend money on buying a book or renting a book, believe you me, that book, you will take care of it more than if it was given to you for free. That book, you will create time and make time to read it and make sure you finish reading it. Why? Because it cost you. If it was just given to you for free, personally, I know when I was beginning to read, I would borrow books from friends and say, oh, I will return within 2 weeks. By the end of 2 weeks, I wasn't even halfway through the book. Why? Because it did not cost me anything. But if it cost me, a book I have bought, a book I've spent my money to rent it or to borrow it, then I will make sure I read. And that way, we will develop character in us. It will develop good character in us. It will instill discipline in us. You know, if we are the kind of people, if you know somebody that is the kind of person that never gets to finish their projects, you know, all their projects are hanging all over, they never get to finish their projects, believe you me, once you begin to develop a reading culture and you're able to read a book through to the end, believe you me, even in all your other projects, you will be able to faithfully carry them through, see them through. Another thing, procrastination will end. Procrastination. Majority of the time, why we procrastinate things is when we think we have enough time to do it later. When we think we have time to do it later. When we have a lot of free time to do things later, then we tend to procrastinate because we know even if I don't do it now, I will do it tomorrow. But do you know what? Once you begin reading, you know, and you have set yourself time, like I have to have an hour every day to read, believe you me, procrastination will die automatically. It will just die by itself, automatically, a sudden death, believe you me. Why? Because you know, that free time you used to have, now you no longer have it, because it is accounted for. It is accounted for as the time when you sit down to read and learn something new. Remember, visit the Facebook page, look for the available lists of all the available books. Also, follow us on Instagram. Also, follow us on Twitter. On Twitter mostly because we are beginning a revolution. And telling people we are Africans and we read. You tweet, I tweet, you tweet back. I'm an African and I read. And if you're so willing, tell us the book you're reading and for how long you've been reading it. And I know that it shall be well. Well, our quote for the week, our quote for this week is, a mind needs books. A mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone, if it is to keep its edge. A mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone. A whetstone is that stone we use, that rough stone we use, you know, to sharpen the knife or a sword. You know, that is what it means by a whetstone. So a mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone, if it is to keep its edge, that is its sharpness. So what is this quote telling us? Just like after you have used a knife or a sword, you know, or a machete for some time, you need to keep going back to the whetstone, you know, to sharpen it over and over, to sharpen it again. So is our mind. Our minds need books to keep their edge or their sharpness. Like we said, the mind is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. The more you use it, the more you exercise using it, the more it grows. And the larger the capacity it develops to reason and to hold even more stuff. The people who say they have trouble concentrating when they are reading a book, just when they start reading, you know, 30 minutes or 20 minutes down the line, they realize they are just reading the same passage. But do you know what? As you keep doing it, it becomes easier. It becomes easier and better and even more enjoyable. Some people salivate at the sight of meat. Personally, I salivate at the sight of a book. If I see somebody with a book, nasikianga tu tumate tunaanza tu kutoka. Yani na salivate. I want to know. I want to feel what they are feeling when they are reading the book. and I believe that shall be your story also. So remember, visit the Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and tweet back, and we shall take this revolution to the next level, making it known, declaring it that we are Africans and we read. I'm an African and I read. Like I said last time, don't be cheated by my skin color. I am also an African and I read. I'm an African and I read. Let us begin this revolution, join this revolution and take it to the next level. Our voice must be heard. We are Africans and we read. I'm an African and I read is our Twitter handle. So with Favour Book Club, thank you for joining us. Encourage more people to join and to follow. And I know with Favour Book Club, you are capable of doing amazing things. Things that will even amaze yourself. Amen. So God bless you and keep you until next time. Thank you so much. You are capable of doing amazing things. The main importance of this book club is about encouraging people to read more and more books. Beginning a revolutionary, telling people we are African and we read.